Coming up on Jackson State News Now, JSU Tigers head to the polls for fall 2015 elections. And another state puts pot on the ballot. That's just ahead. Hello everyone, welcome to Jackson State News Now. I'm Jordan Darensburg. Thanks for joining us. Topic our news, it's election day, and unfortunately many new JSU students are getting to cast their first ballot. For those who registered to vote when they enrolled for classes this fall, they didn't have far to travel to vote. Jackson State actually has a polling location on campus. It's located in the Student Union on the 3rd floor. Voting ends tonight at 7. One initiative that has hundreds of thousands of Mississippians interested is the Initiative 42. This measure is asking Mississippi voters to decide whether or not the Constitution should guarantee fully funded public schools. The state is the poorest in the nation. Initiative 42 is a proposed amendment to Mississippi's Constitution. More than 200,000 residents signed a petition to get it on the fall ballot. Supporters believe it would provide for the establishment, maintenance, and support of an adequate and efficient system of free public schools. We'll have the outcome tomorrow on Jackson State News Now. The issue of the history of Confederate States of America hits home for a Mississippi family. Bertram Hayes Davis doesn't look back in anger. He's the great-great-grandson of Jefferson Davis, the President of the Confederate States of America during the Civil War. Hayes Davis lives in Gulfport, Mississippi, where there are many reminders of his famous relative. He says he's aware of the long-standing controversy linked to Jefferson Davis. However, he says there was much more to the former politician than most know.
Not represented by the President of the Confederate States of America, wrapped around the flag. I'm trying to unwrap him from the flag to say he wasn't incarnate in 1861. There's 52 years that you want to hear about.
Hayes Davis believes that if people find Confederate statues offensive, they should be moved. But he says they need to be taken to places where they can be included in educational efforts. Ohio residents will vote on marijuana legalization today. This is the first time voters in a state election will decide whether to approve recreational and medical marijuana at the same time. Under the measure, residents would be able to grow their own 4 plants for personal consumption. Commercial marijuana cultivation would be allowed on 10 farms. The plots for cultivation are specifically identified in the ballot item by exact location and acreage. Normal, a pro-legalization organization, says the 10-farm system would limit production, which would not benefit the consumer. Also on the ballot, a measure asking voters not to approve the marijuana legalization item. According to Normal, if voters approve both measures, the courts will probably decide which one takes precedence. Ohio would be the 5th state to legalize recreational marijuana after Colorado, Washington, Oregon, and Alaska. Washington, D.C. has also approved it. About 24 states allow medical marijuana. And in Houston, voters will weigh in on a transgender bathroom measure. Mark Boyle reports on the final push to sway voters on this issue.
The highly controversial Houston Proposition 1, Houston's Equal Rights Ordinance, once again took center stage today as those for it and against it are trying to reach as many voters as possible. This morning, a group of faith leaders spoke about why they think Prop 1 should pass and how it will impact everyone.
We desire to be movers and shakers for peace and justice in our city. And that is why our community affirms Proposition 1, Houston's Equal Rights Ordinance. We believe we are all God's children. We believe in treating everyone fairly and equally under the law.
But on the other side, there are plenty of people speaking out against the Equal Rights Ordinance, including Campaign for Houston. Jared Woodfill is the spokesperson for the group.
It's an 8,000 word document. It's over 28 pages. And they try to hide from the scary truth that's found in those 8,000 words, those 28 pages, that it allows biological males, including registered sex offenders, to go into female restrooms, locker rooms, and showers, all under the protection of law. And we as Houstonians need to say no to that.
Earlier today, Governor Greg Abbott took to Twitter to oppose the ordinance, tweeting, "Vote Texas values, not Hillary Clinton values. Vote no on City of Houston Proposition 1, no men in women's bathrooms." So what does this mean for employers and business owners?
We represent employers and management in complying with labor and employment laws. And if Prop 1 passes, our job will be to educate employers and help assist them and provide compliance, either counseling or training, to make sure that they can comply with what's required by the law.
Polls in Texas close at 7 p.m. Central Time. And taking a look at national politics for the 2016 campaign for president, the leader has changed. Ben Carson now tops Donald Trump as frontrunner of the Republican presidential race. A new national poll from NBC News and the Wall Street Journal shows Carson leading Trump 29 to 23%. There's a margin of error of plus or minus 4.9 percentage points. Trump and Carson are followed next by Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, and Jeb Bush. The polls surveyed likely GOP primary voters both before and after last week's debate hosted by CNBC. Still to come on Jackson State News Now, I'll have a look at the weather forecast. And we'll look at news around the nation, including possible legal action against Chipotle. And in our Technology Tuesday report, owners of Candy Crush hit the jackpot. You are watching Jackson State News Now.
I'm Alexia Norwood, a graduate of Jackson State University, and I'd like to challenge you to join me in the 10 for 10 challenge. All you have to do is to give $10 to Jackson State University and challenge 10 of your friends to do the same and upload the video. Be sure to tag at Jackson State on Facebook and use hashtag JSU10for10 on Instagram and on Twitter.
Welcome back to Jackson State News Now. The first lawsuit has been filed in connection to an E. coli outbreak at dozens of Chipotle restaurants in the Northwest U.S. that tops our look at news around the nation. Charmaine Denise Mode alleges she fell violently ill shortly after eating at a Chipotle in Vancouver, Washington last month. Mode is seeking at least $75,000 in her federal lawsuit. Chipotle has not commented on the suit. The restaurant chain closed 43 locations in Washington State and Oregon after health officials linked 22 E. coli cases to several eateries. The Oregon Public Health Division said Monday that the outbreak was likely caused by contaminated produce. Taco Bell says it fired a corporate employee after he was caught on camera attacking an Uber driver in California. Benjamin Golden repeatedly punching the driver in Costa Mesa last week. The driver was able to defend himself with pepper spray. Golden was later arrested and charged with assault and public intoxication. Golden worked as a marketing manager for Taco Bell. Monday, the fast food giant released a statement saying his behavior made it clear he can no longer work for the company. Taco Bell also encouraged Golden to get professional help. British singer Adele has returned to the music charts in record-breaking fashion. The pop star's new single, Hello, not only debuted at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, it becomes the first to get more than 1 million US downloads in a week. She released the song on October 23rd. The music video set a record on Vivo for most views in a single day. Adele's new album, 25, hit stores November the 20th. That takes a look at stories making news around the nation. The crash of a Russian jetliner that killed 224 people this weekend has left the country in mourning. As victims' remains return home, satellite information is to more speculation about what may have caused the tragedy. Reporter Reed Binion has details.
New data leading to new questions in the Russian plane crash that killed 224 passengers Saturday. A mysterious heat flash detected by a U.S. satellite when Flight 9268 was flying over the Sinai Peninsula early Saturday. 23 minutes into the flight, the plane dropped off radar, breaking up in midair, according to officials. Former FAA investigator David Susi says the key question is exactly where the flash happened.
Did that flash start on the ground, or did it flash happen in the air?
Analysts say it could indicate a range of possibilities. An engine malfunction, a fire on board, wreckage hitting the ground, or an explosion from a missile or bomb blast. Those last two possibilities leading to renewed questions about terrorism. U.S. Director of National Intelligence James Clapper not ruling it out.
Well, we don't have any direct evidence of any terrorist involvement yet. ISIL, in a tweet, claimed responsibility for it, but we really don't know.
Egyptian and Russian officials casting doubt that the terror group active in the region has weaponry powerful enough to shoot down a commercial plane. These developments come as flights carrying victims' remains return to a country in mourning. 25 children perished in the crash, including the youngest victim, a 10-month-old baby girl. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Just ahead on Jackson State News Now, I'll have your complete forecast, and drone technology soars to new heights. That story is coming up in Technology Tuesday. Later in sports, King James hits a milestone. The details are coming up. Stay with us.
What comes to mind when you think about Drive? Breakthroughs in research, artistic design, the latest technology, hand in hand with education. Think JSU. We have a rich history, and we're a growing part of your community, with campuses in Jackson, Madison, downtown, and a comprehensive online learning program. We're everywhere you are, challenging minds and changing lives. So what are you waiting for? Come, be a part of JSU.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Jordan Darensburg with your JSU News Now weather, and we start off with our nation's weather. It's a very active radar. Well, not really active radar, but there are a couple spots I want to point out. The first one is in southern parts of Georgia and northern parts of Florida, where we have that big rain band that had created a lot of that rain in southern Mississippi over the weekend. Actually, not southern Mississippi, the entire state of Mississippi over the weekend, which created that rain for the Valley game. And now we're also going to look at our next system, which is in the Pacific Northwest. Places like Seattle and Spokane, Washington are getting a big soaking of rain, and that rain system will come down through much of the country and into Mississippi come Friday. And speaking of which, we'll talk more about that weather later, but for right now, it's going to be a very nice day with highs in the upper 70s and skies clearing out, and it will be a little bit clearer come this evening. Temperatures nearing the upper 50s, but mainly the low 60s throughout much of the region. And tomorrow looks beautiful. It should be a nice day. Temperatures in the upper 70s for your Wednesday. However, Wednesday evening, the temperatures will start to drop again into the upper 50s, so make sure you have long jeans and are bundled up appropriately. And now the extended forecast. On Friday, that is the day that we are most focused about, because Friday is where we have that big chance of those showers and storms, which all will definitely end by mid-morning on Saturday morning. In Technology Tuesday, there is huge news regarding a very popular app. Candy Crush is getting a new owner. Activision Blizzard announced plans overnight to acquire King Digital Entertainment for nearly $6 billion. Activision is best known for more traditional games like Guitar Hero and Call of Duty that are played on PCs or gaming consoles. Buying the maker of Candy Crush will help it get a stronger foothold in mobile gaming. Consumer drones are becoming more a common sight now, but just a few years ago, the term had a very different meaning. It usually meant military drones launching airstrikes. Over the past 10 years, drones with cameras are now on the verge of being a staple for not only consumers, but businesses as well. Christy Lou Stout reports.
They've given us new perspectives on disaster zones and breathtaking shots of tourist destinations. The rise of consumer drones is bringing us remarkable new ways to see the world. How did drone technology take off so quickly? Well, it turns out the answer is in your pocket, the smartphone.
Because smartphone technology is moving so fast, and because the same sensors and chips and cameras that are in smartphones drive drones, the drone industry was able to draft behind the smartphone industry and benefit from the fastest progression Moore's Law the world's ever seen.
This is a global revolution. The market leader is a Chinese company, DJI, and the uptake in consumer drones is driving commercial uses. Amazon is one of a number of companies that want to use them to deliver packages. And CNN has joined a trial program to help U.S. authorities form rules about how companies can use drones. But as the potential uses grow, so do the worries. A drone carrying a message of protest landed on the Japanese Prime Minister's residence and one crashed into the White House lawn. Security concerns prompting authorities in the U.S. to call for a drone registry. Critics say it's not enough.
So there's a first good point of getting to know where the pilot is and who the pilot is, but surely it's not enough. It does not protect anything. For that you need a little bit more, because the bad guys certainly will not certify their drones and will not have them registered.
Whether they're flown by bad guys, big companies, or your next-door neighbor, drones are an increasingly common sight in our skies. Christy Lou Stout, CNN, Hong Kong.
McCall from the Jackson State University Tigers, and I personally would like to challenge all of you to give to the JSU 10 for 10 challenge. All you have to do is give $10, 10 recurring dollars to JSU, and challenge 10 of your friends, and go out there on the website and post it to your account at hashtag JSU 10 for 10.
Now it's time for your sports report. And we start with Kansas City Royals fans celebrating the team's World Series win and lining up to buy that championship gear. As you could probably see, there are a lot of things that they chose from t-shirts, hats, to all sorts of good stuff, which really to celebrate the fact that they had won a World Series for the first time in 30 years, if you could believe that. Cavaliers' LeBron James became the youngest player to reach 25,000 career points. Last night, LeBron finished with 22 points, 11 assists, and 9 rebounds, and he scored the milestone point on a jam with 8:07 left in the fourth quarter. And now to Monday Night Football. Just when it looked like the Carolina Panthers would win going away, the Indianapolis Colts refused to go away. But the Panthers, like they've done all season, somehow found a way, falling behind for the first time all night in overtime before rallying to a pulsating 29-26 victory on Monday Night Football. And finally, the Let's Move campaign by First Lady Michelle Obama would like this next athlete. A 73-year-old Las Vegas man has completed his quest to run marathons in all 50 states. John Maltsby crossed the finish line of the Anthem Manchester City Marathon in New Hampshire Sunday, his 50th race. This is video of him picking up his number a day before the race. Maltsby began his quest at age 60. He has run 7 marathons this year alone. Maltsby says it's been a rocky but rewarding road, and he is now looking forward to some rest and relaxation. And that's your Jackson State News Now Sports Report. Before we go, here's a recap of our top stories on Jackson State News Now. Taking a quick look at our top stories, it's Election Day here in the capital city, and Jackson State students head to the polls like thousands of other Mississippians to cast their vote. One major issue on the minds and ballots in the state is Initiative 42. It will decide how public school will be funded. and still more questions than answers in the crashed Russian plane. The Metrojet aircraft, U.S. officials report that a satellite shows heat flash when the Metrojet plane crashed, but no missile evidence. And there's a final look at weather. It's going to be a very nice day as you head out to the polls. However, this evening it will be kind of chilly, so if you're having an outdoor watch party for the results, make sure you are bundled up. Thank you for watching Jackson State News Now. I'm Jordan Darensburg. Have a great evening, Tigers.